I'm going to apologize in advance. I think I've completely ruined my OBS settings and I don't know how to fix them. Uh, I'm not very technologically literate when it comes to video production, so it's a miracle that the previous videos came out as well as they did. I really don't know how to start with this video because it feels like this is becoming a pretty nasty habit where I wait too long to post another video. And in the background, I have been working on stuff. I'm sorry I have to reiterate that. I feel like that is just kind of an excuse to be like, oh, guys, I'm making this video so late because I'm working on stuff. But it's kind of a pitiful excuse, and I don't think it's really fair to take so long between updates. Then again, it's never really been made clear to me quite why people watch my stuff. If it's for the technology-based stuff, then absolutely, I don't mind doing more technology-based videos. Or if people really enjoy my rants more, I'd like people to leave a comment or something, say why it is that they've been drawn to my channel. But I do know that it has been a long time since I actually posted anything, and I wanted to get better about that. But I can already tell that's not going to be the case because every time I tell myself that I need to go back and make a video, it seems like I get caught up in this cycle where I know I need to make one. I take my sweet time making one, especially getting around to a topic, and then when I finally do sit down to record it, I don't know what to say. All that being said, I do get very tired making these videos very easily because I'm not a very social person in real life. Outside YouTube, even on the internet, I kind of struggle when it comes to socializing. Um, it's it's difficult for me to convey in just a video the kinds of things that I want to get done. But I'm going to try and share a few things I've made some progress on that I'm a little bit excited about because I don't want people to think I've just been letting this channel languish. That was never the plan. But it is taking me a lot longer to make these updates than I am even remotely comfortable with. So, I'll tell you one thing I was working on right before I stopped. Right about the time that I left off my last video, I started working on this project. I was attempting to write an elaborate script for and even plan out like some humorous inserts into a review for a game called Rusted Moss. This is not scripted. That's why I'm stuttering over myself. But yeah, I have a script written. I was in the process of doing the beginning stages of the recording, and I actually got quite a lot of footage of the game. But the fact is, I feel like I burnt myself out a little on that project because there was a lot that I was planning to add, and the scope of the project got a little out of hand because I wanted it to be an extremely high production value video, but in the end I ended up knowing I wouldn't be able to do that. It's going to be one of those things that's on the back burner. I don't know when or where that's going to be finished. Another thing I'm working on that I'm personally a little bit excited about, and as the project comes along I hope other people get excited about it when it gets closer to being finished, I have the extremely bare bones functionality for a music player. It's an idea I've actually had for several months, but I didn't know how to begin to execute it. But I can show you some of what I have. Alright, so this is Dawnlight. This is another major... When I said I was talking about the music player, this is what this is, Dawnlight. The documentation folder is literally just a copy-paste of the CMakeEasy documentation, but it will be reformatted in a way that's a little more appropriate for the program itself. I don't know how people felt about the documentation for CMakeEasy, and I never really got any feedback for it, so I'm just going to assume that people were mostly happy with it or didn't care either way. But yeah, making Dawnlight isn't really that big of a deal. It's already built here, but it's just got like a typical build script, for Linux anyway. For Windows, I plan on creating some kind of installer. It really depends on if the project is accepted by people, I guess. And basically all Dawnlight does is it runs on SFML, as a lot of my GUI projects do. It goes through, it starts initializing Windows stuff, it creates a configuration file, or no, it reads in a configuration file, which should be copied to the build folder, and in the final version I plan on having it installed to the system, so you know. Um, I guess I'm going to try and figure out how to make it so you can kind of write a custom configuration file and have that exported to your system so that you wouldn't have to go searching through system files just to edit it. In Windows, that's not a big deal because finding a configuration file in a system folder and editing it is fine, but in Linux, you're kind of tampering with system files is a problem. But I will figure out how to write an API for that. Anyway, that initializes the window. The default window attributes I think are like, it's either 800 by 600 or, yeah, 800 by 600 or 640 by 320, whatever. The canvas color is actually not usually green when you initialize it. That was me testing out configuration files. It is actually, I think, like a bluish color normally. But what the program does is it can take a configuration that you write in numbers, and if it makes sense to put it in the program, it reads it from the file and then outputs it to the canvas constructor so that, you know, it just starts up a new color. And essentially it has a database. You can set a custom music path, or you will be able to, and I just have so much planned for this. This is like just barely the start. But as you can see, it's pretty fundamentally simple. I plan on making as much configurable as possible. The UI should be fully customizable. I plan on making it resizable and stuff. Make you be able to place buttons wherever you want them, that sort of thing. Because I don't see a lot of music players that do that sort of thing, and I wanted this to be a project that people just have fun with. I think the main downside will be, because of the complexity of MP3s and MP3 licensing, and also the fact that the creators of the MP3 are moving away from that file type in exchange for something else I'm not familiar with, it's not going to be able to run MP3s, but it'll still be able to run OGGs, WAVs, FLACs, possibly other audio type files. It all depends. I could add even more functionality to let it run other music types, but we'll see. But yeah, this was another major project I was working on. Video quality may decrease a bit because I've had to resize the resolution again. The game engine idea is still being worked on very slowly, but I've been doing little bits and pieces of work on that RPG project that I'm sure I've mentioned at least in the past. I can say for certain that I've been working on 2 projects with as much power and focus that I can. But like I said, my attention's just so variable, I guess. And Dawnlight's getting a lot of my focus right now. CMake Easy, I don't know what direction to take it right now because it's still very functional as it is. I know it needs some more features, and I know there's a lot that CMake can afford to it that would, you know, there are some complex things you can do with CMake that CMake Easy just doesn't provide on its own as a base system. But like I said, when I created CMake Easy, it was for the most basic possible CMake file. That was the original intent of the program anyway. If and when CMake Easy 2 does come out, I plan on adding much more advanced features to that. I also made a mistake with the CMake Easy versioning because I did have it at 1.2 and I thought that that was completely finished and that version was basically settled. But the more I think about it, I'd like to go ahead and port the current features for 1.3 over to master because I've been using the 1.3 on my own system, and I actually think it's more stable and generally more flexible than the current stable branch of CMake Easy, which has a couple of problems from it back when I created it then. I think it's much more reasonable and responsible for me to go ahead and port that over to master as soon as possible. I think that's all I really have an update on right now. I've been very seriously considering getting a setup for Twitch, including like overlays and complex visuals and maybe like art. And I don't know if I'll actually do all that. It's very intense work, and I don't really think I'm cut out for streaming, to be completely honest. But I have found myself kind of embedded in the Twitch community as of late, so who knows? Maybe it's in the cards. We'll see.